So before unit test best practices, let's see some points that we need to consider with unit test best practices or tests. Here are some things to note about unit tests. Test methods can't be used to test web service callouts. Instead, use mock callouts such as test web service callouts and as testing HTTP callouts. It is basically like there is an application in Apex and Salesforce, and there is an application outside of Salesforce, like another application, complete another application onto web, right? We call its web service to access some data to like do some functionality. That web service cannot be called with test methods or unit tests. So the code that is being used to make the web service call out and everything will not get executed, and that's the only reason the code coverage is 75%, right? Because we cannot execute certain things. I told you earlier as well. There are certain things that cannot be executed or that cannot be a part of testing. So in that case, that's the reason the code coverage is 75% instead of 100%. So that's one thing that you have to take care of. Next, you can't send email messages from test methods. Again, the code that you have written down to send the email messages will not be covered in the as a part of testing. Since test methods don't commit any data created in a test, you don't have to delete test data upon completion. We all know about that. Test data is transient. Okay. Private test class members. Test methods aren't allowed in non-test classes. We all know that. You must move the test methods from the old class into the new class, a class identity with this test when you upgrade the API version of your class. Remember the time that when I told you that earlier in the same class the test methods were used to written. Now if you're trying to update the API version of those classes, in that situation you'll have to move the test methods from that same class to another test class which is annotated with is test. That's what it is. Uh, you might run into visibility issues when accessing. See this. You might run into visibility issues when accessing private methods or member variables of the original class. So this happens. Like there are private methods. Earlier, the test method was there in the same class itself, so it was able to access the private methods and the private variables. But now it's in a different class. In order to access it, what do we need to do? Add test visible annotation, right? That's all what we have to do. In this case, just annotate these variable and private members with test visible. That's what it is. Next, what is test data? Test data is the transient data that is not committed to the database and is created by each test class to test the Apex code functionality for which it is created. Use of this transient test data makes it easy to test the functionality of other Apex classes and triggers. That's it. Test data. This does not change the data already in the system, or nor is any cleanup required after the testing. Test classes can be moved to any environment and executed there as they create their own data as their environment or agnostic. This is very important. So why do we create test data when we write down test classes or unit test method? Because test data, whenever you are like moving, like currently you are executing the test class in your own org, and let's say in your sandbox, and let's say in your sandbox you've already created some records in the object, and you're writing down at is test see all data equals to true. So you're getting all of the records. But what if I move this code from my sandbox to production where there are no records? So in that case, no testing will happen because there is no data already in the objects. So in that case, write down your test classes in such a way that they create their own test data and test it accordingly. Getting it, everyone? Features, annotation, no. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. No need to use see all data annotation. Yeah, that's what it is. So this now there are some best practices. Let's have a look. Sir, if auto number is a required field on an object, then how do you use insert operation on that object in test class? Auto number is never required. You cannot make it as required because it is always required because it is an auto number. I mean, there's no like you cannot make it required because it is auto. So like you can't make record ID required or not required. It is already required because system defines that field. Similarly, auto number is a kind of field which system defines and it's by default required because system is I mean directed to assign a value to that particular field every time a new record gets created. So that's what it is. I hope that makes sense, Ashish. Next, unit test best practices. Cover as many lines of Apex code as possible, including all the branches of conditional logic. These are some things that you have to take care of. Like as many of them, and not as many of them. It's also about variety of test cases should be run. Positive test cases, negative test cases, this test case, that test case, everything. Use the system.run as method to test record level access for users code being tested. Listen to this very carefully. This is a very important method. Someone yesterday asked me that like how can we test that whether this user is able to access this data and this user is not able to access that data. So you can run the test according to the security and sharing settings of a particular user as well with the help of system.run as method. So you can use system.run as in the test class. Over here, just provide the S object of that particular user that you would like to use. Like I mean, so you can do that with the help of a query. Select name, ID comma name from user, where ID is equals to this and limit one, and then you can get that user, and then you can pass that user over here and block. Let's have a look. So the system.run as package.version is basically for like basically to execute when you take one. Okay, let's do it. When you take one code from one system to another system as a part of package. It's the last topic that we're going to understand in Salesforce development course, deployment methodologies, in which we are going to understand what exactly packages are. So what is an APA? It's basically a packaged file which contains all the files related to the application of Android system, right? What is IPA? It's for iOS application, right? So similarly in Salesforce, there are packages, which includes all the relevant files or relevant information, relevant code or relevant functionality for that particular application. So currently we are talking about the system.run as. Let's do it. So I've got Shrain here. I want to have the ID for Shrey. So I know there is no need to write down limit one, but still I'm going to write it down. Block. Which block? What's the problem with this? Expecting curly brace, but okay. That's how it goes. So this particular block will be executed at this particular user, or with the help of, or by taking into consideration the security and sharing settings of this particular user. Is it clear? Right, write it down. I mean, if you, it depends on for how many users you want to test it, and you do not have to do it for every user. You have to do it for every user for different profiles. So if there are 10 people in that particular same profile, why to test it for those 10 users? Test it for that for any one of them, and it will be tested for all of the people who are there in that particular profile or permission set. Yeah. So the next is always handle all exceptions that are caught instead of merely catching the exceptions. So it's not only about putting the try catch block. It's also about what do you write down in the catch block to handle that exception. That is what is important, right? So do that. Make use of system.assert and system.assert equal statement in your test classes and methods to verify expected results. So sometimes what people do is they write down the test class, and in that test class, they write down the code so that the coverage reaches to 100% or 75%. And they never write down system.assert because it might create a problem. So always the testing is going to be successful. Don't do that, right? Just to reach the code coverage. Next, try to cover both positive and negative test scenario by passing valid and invalid inputs to the Apex code. You have to do that. Do it in that way. Use start test and stop test method to avoid governor limits while testing actual code or functionality. All test data should be created outside and prior to calling these methods. So like, imagine if you have created the test data and now you're executing the main functionality. So that main functionality is going to have its own governor limits, and the test data has already reached some of the limits. So it might exceed. So use start test and stop test whenever you're trying to execute that same functionality, so that the governor limits that got that it captured while creating the test data is of no sense to that particular functionality, or while testing that particular functionality. Is it clear, everyone? Everyone, sure? Okay. With this, we are done with testing Apex or Apex testing. Uh, Make sure to try it enough to understand it, and yeah, that's what it is.